he had discerning adjectives, right? He had adjectives as in he talked about things that I don't even pay attention to, and I was like, dude, I use not shitty ingredients, but I'm not even all that familiar with the science of it, right? I froze. Can you still hear me though? Could you still hear me? Can you hear me now? You know what? This would probably be easier on you, and then you guys don't have to look at me. Okay. Selling yourself, Vegas, and commodities. Vegas. Oh my gosh, Vegas. You know what? I'll go back to I left and came back. No, it's fine. Okay. I wanted to go to the public and private thing. And then, so we're going to do, how about we do an order of operations? That'll be talking about credit. The Vegas comment earlier, you got to remind me. What did I say about Vegas? Because I remember something about it, and then I put Vegas as the site of the live show. What was it about Vegas? I don't remember. Okay, so we're going to talk about credit. We're going to talk about property taxes. Nothing. I said it's only legal in Vegas. Yeah. Credit, property taxes, political status. We'll talk about wills. That came into play this week. Banking. How about banking and finance? And then what else? Selling yourself. Oh, you're the commodity selling yourself. Oh my gosh. Yeah, the thing, it's like art influencing life, influencing art all around, but it's the commodity selling well, I trust the process. That's what I tell people. I go, don't believe it. You don't have to disbelieve me, but go investigate it. I'll give you all the citations and say, hey, if you can think of anything different with this, let's see it. And then what else? How else could I help? Well, we could talk about loans. This, that, and the other. We'll just make a list and people can throw in questions, throw their DM, that kind of thing. Okay, I'm going to go and we'll do this. I need my notebook. We talked about stations identifying themselves. How about IULs? How about life insurance? Anyone know about those yet? Life insurance policies, you can borrow against them via 12 U.S. code. That's chapter 12 of the U.S. code. I'm going to leave this on here. I want to talk about it a little bit more. But under 12 U.S. code, that's about banking, and we are our own private bankers. So if you set up an IUL, you can do any number of things with an IUL. You can get a monthly return on your IUL. I was bought an annuity today, then backed out with Spencer's group. Nice. I suppose. I hope you've had a great day. How about that? Or transferred my IRA, right? I wanted to share this portion. In particular, when we're talking about civics and the public and the private, I talked about perversions, but this is one of the most important things because it's about, hi there, Black Tree Skylines. Shades and color has to do with semblance and appearance. I don't know. I need the trust before IUL. You know what? Not necessarily, but I always think it's a great idea. It's a matter of defense. And when people understand, here, let's make it very clear what happens, what you can lose without political status correction and trusts. Hey, Black Tree Skylines, you want to come on as a co-host? I know that you're busy. It's not that you would lose everything, but in your mind, it would be catastrophic. And this is why. Your all capital letters name and your social security number belong to the state. They created that. But in law, and it's even natural law, but the creator owns his creation or his product. So the number and the name belong to them. Starseed Journey, good evening. So anything that you are doing, building your estate without differentiating, or it doesn't even matter differentiating, separating yourself and saying you are the living being, the living man or woman, right? Because a man or a woman are the only two things that have rights in law. It doesn't matter if they feel like an Apache attack helicopter or whatever they're calling themselves. Man and women are the man and woman are the only thing that have rights in law. So separating yourself from the taxpayer ID, also known as the straw man. Let's say you die or what have you, if they liquidate things, which is what is going on right now, everything that you build on your estate is theirs. You have contributed everything to them. And does it really have to be 15K up front to say, hey, I'm a living woman? Oh my gosh. Who said that? Wait a minute. Who said that? No, no, no. It's how fast can you learn it? 15K up front. Who quoted that? I paid for a mentorship, and that was a investment. But I thought you said no. No, you know what? Let's go through that document together. I mean, if there's a typo that says 15K, I don't even have a package at 15K. Not that it's listed. Not even for 15K. No. It doesn't cost 15K at all. You can do a bunch with trust. It just depends on what trust you're going to go for, and people offer different things. But yeah, no, don't get hung up on that. It's what is the cost? Status correction costs. You're going to burn through some money with printing? How about it? Black Tree Skylines? How would you identify it? It's not like an invoice. It's not like an invoiced thing. Dude, mentorship completely worked for me. Enough that I've started a business with it, and there's no end. There will be no end to this, and it won't be work. It's good. It's just going to be fun. So yes, mostly paperwork and filing, and I'd say it's the time it takes to learn it, because you shouldn't go off half-cocked like I did. I have a pile of waste, a pile of paper waste that's as thick as a regular ream of paper, and that doesn't count the amount of stuff, that it's just been reckless, and you have to take the time with it. Look what Black Tree Skyline says, because she's great and she's organized. So here, how about this? I would recommend everyone getting connected, because there's a good thing going. And Black Tree Skylines is special, wicked smart, talented, and she talks good shit too. I'm just saying. Yeah, and that is the like, not that learning is expensive. Ignorance always outweighs that as far as a cost and the like, but 15K, no way. So status correction, your thing is to prove. So here, ready? Here's something. File an affidavit. Because only a living thing can file an affidavit. However, an affidavit isn't the skeleton key. Like, that's one thing, but there's things that you have to rebut, and it's not a static. It is not the case that, like, let's use an analogy, right? Like, you're making your way and you get to a closed gate, and it's not like when you put in that key, the door will open and you'll walk through it, but that door's going to be different. You're never going to hit that point again, and you can't come back to it and rely on it. Keep pointing back at that door. That's not how that works. So, in trust, though, living things have to do with trust. Everything else is the realm of the dead. And when you separate it and you're operating with trust, you're proven to be alive. Group chat on Facebook Messenger. You know what? I was advised to do the same thing. I'm going to do a WhatsApp. I'm going to do a WhatsApp group. I was advised to open a page on Facebook. do Rumble, get back on Twitter. And Black Tree Skylines, he told me to hire an assistant. He goes, go hire some local high schooler to drive you around. Oh, no, it's not past my bedtime yet. I've got it. I'm going to rock the house. Okay, let's show this. Babyface, good evening. Okay, we were talking about things they don't teach. So they don't tell us about civics, but they don't tell us about the public and the private. We talked about the lawful versus the legal, how it has to do with fiction over here, not necessarily lies. Lies I tied to perversions, but also inversions to drive you around. Exactly, to drive me around and do my social media. And when we're doing the private, this all has to do with you. And there's a phrase from my friend Robin, and she says, when you know who you are, you know who the heck they ain't. And legal fictions are corporations, all capital letters name. I write with all capital letters, just don't mind it. But I'm saying that legal fictions are what are known out. The lawful has to deal with substance and equity, and really the true power and authority, and that has to do with trust again. But truth and justice, that is impossible over here. The only thing you get to deal with in the public is legal fictions. And what do dead legal fictions provide? They provide only lower order forms of truth in the form of distortions, inversions, and perversions, which in law is fraud. I don't want to get into that. This is one of the biggest things I want to talk about. Then I'm going to scrub this and we'll get on to the next. So shades and color have to deal with semblance and appearing, what it seems to be or how it looks. And just because it looks that way doesn't mean that there's any truth to it. And the biggest point when we're talking about the public and the private has to do with an 80%, 20% mix. And this dovetails nicely with what Stanley Milgram said in his experiment. So Milgram said that 80% will just follow along with authority and just do what they're told. They're not going to question it. They're just going to toe the line. And Milgram said that's culture. 80%, just you can guess. And I say since COVID, we can up that number to like 90% because those are the numbers. That's how it worked out. 90 might be a little bit high, but so might I. Okay, so consenting to post on YouTube. Black and white. That's right. Black and white. That's it. Whereas there's color and life. Okay, but we're going to talk about color. Color of law, right? We'll get into violations and the like. You have a colorable title, which is one of the most important things. I'd already mentioned that the vocabulary word of the day was holder in due course. The next word would probably be the F word, which is fiduciary. And we can talk about that. Black and white. Talking about the ledger, I want to talk about the color of title. And when people understand what they're doing with their own, which is a colorable title, but there is a higher authority as far as that legal title is concerned. And that's via the MCO, the Manufacturer's Certificate of Origin. And you can get that any number of ways. But those are legal titles. That's something on the public. So one of the most important things is that anything that you issue on the private has its equivalent in the public, and anything that you issue from the private trumps that in the public. So again, all with the where we deal with the real, where we deal with truth and justice, we walk with grace and faith, and we're dealing with substance, equity, and you as authority. So breaking that down again, I said the 80-20 rule. 80% is over on the public side, and the private side, there's not much. It's your estate, which can be a lot. You can build your estate and the like. But let's say in the grand scheme of things, 80% of what they say is crap, which is why you bring over 20% of the good stuff. And the good stuff, Michigan made, good to see you. When you bring over substance and truth in equity, it trumps everything they say and do. And that is why trust is absolutely toxic. It's poison to the public, which is why you can't bring trust up in statutory engagements. You have to go in camera. You have to talk to the judge out of quarters, because if you start talking with trust, it completely undermines their system, which is why they don't teach it. And when you understand why they don't teach it and what it is, you understand that you can wear a bunch of different hats. Check out this hat. Isn't this great? Okay. You can wear a bunch of different hats and understand what you're doing, right? And understand that you're not fixed and you're not stuck. So they don't teach us a lot, and it's our responsibility to sniff it out. Hence, the interest in the movement and putting something together that's going to be based on what they don't teach, what are the foundations of at least Western society, as some of those things, a whole lot of this, because the discussions of not only the private, but the realm of trust is first chapter of Genesis. And you don't even need to be a believer in it, but you know what? The science and the history believes in you. So we're starting with the foundations of the quadrivium and the trivium. And along the way, we're discussing political, I almost said political correctness. We could go there, but that's for the second hour. I'll scrub this down and we'll get on to the next. We're going to talk about credit as the credit report. Dude, I'm here for you. Good to see you, Francisco. Your credit is a report card as to how you're handling your accounts in the public. And with a little bit of dancing, you can prove that you don't necessarily want to be the owner, but you want to be mature and competent before the public. And when you do that definitively and decisively and conclusively, leaving no doubt. And again, this is another thing that they don't teach. So I hope you have your pens ready. I'm going to repeat this. I'm going to type it. I'll repeat it 300 times like I usually do, but here we go. You need to go get your credit report. This is all free via the credit companies. This is the second hour. Oh, right. No, the second hour of the second hour. Go to Experian, TransUnion, and Equifax and save PDFs of your... This isn't scrubbing off. God bless it. Save PDFs of your credit reports. I'll write that now. Brazil Seed Company, you know what we're doing. What's up, bro? Equifax, Experian, TransUnion. Save as PDFs. And you know what? Sometimes dude, we're rocking it. You know what? I found an outline. I sent it to you too. I sent an outline. We will talk at, you know what? I'm going to be up for a while because I need to answer an email and help out infantry. So, Brazil, we got to talk about an outline that I found, and I was like, dude, that's the beginner level. Dude, I feel that. Yeah, welcome. Dude, I'm turning some heads. I opened a finance company, Black Tree Skylines. We have to talk. And then we're going to just stir it up. We're now getting financing for companies. So for people and companies. And I looked at it and I was like, I know how to do this. So they bombard, if you sign up from the sites, they bombard the email box. What's that? I don't understand that. If you sign up from the sites. Okay. I'm going to keep typing this out though real quick. 1 second. Save as PDFs. And then sometimes one of the sites will give you an issue, like TransUnion has been acting up the past 2 weeks. And so you would go to annual credit report.com. And what do you know? That's free too. I'm going to pin that comment. That's free too. You save your things and then message me and schedule 30 minutes really. And we're going to go through that. So whether you have collections, bankruptcies, any number of things, you need to share with us your report. We keep that in confidence, and we've got people that can really do some magic. So, and to tell you, the things that are spelled correctly, that are 1 cent off, or that are not echoed between all 3 accounts are known as violations, and you get paid for the violations. You get paid when you don't give permission to offer viewings of your report. So people are engaging in negligence, defamation of character, and identity theft. And that's what we correct, among other things. I gotta get the dog 1 second. Hi, thank you. Appreciate it. Lay down, good girl. Mavis is going to join, and she's going to take over the instruction for the rest of the show. That's how special she is. I know. Would you rather look at her, or would you rather... Okay. Good dog. Hi, sweet baby. She'll co-host. You guys could just look at her, and it could be like she's teaching. Hi, sweet girl. Okay, yeah, you want to talk to him? Thanks. Okay, I know. Did you catch that look? What a dog. Okay, free. Go on. Okay, so we were talking about the public and the private, and we were talking about color of titles. I went to the Equifax, and my email is bombarded with spam. Oh, okay. It's all part of the charm. That's right, the accoutrement. Yeah, let's talk about opt-outs. We can talk about opt-out and how every single website on the web gives you a chance to opt out so it's not reporting about you. That's the biggest thing. This world is for us, but we need to read the instructions. Oh my gosh. And guys, if you want some tasty memes, you should get added in the network, especially Aslan. She sent a meme that just absolutely curdled. Oh my gosh. It made me pucker and I broke ribs laughing. I shrieked and hurtle-girdled and did all this stuff. I was dancing like a spasmodic pigeon as I was laughing, and it... Oh my gosh, Aslan, next level. I've already sent it around like 20 times. I'll never do it again. I'll deny it if anyone ever produced it. It was perfect. It was glorious. Okay, I'm going to keep going. We were talking about the public and the private. We were talking about credit. And if you know people that are feeling it, and all over the world, it's the same situation. Every country is broke. If you look at the number of countries that are breaking down right now, it's all because of the financial and the credit realm, which isn't to say that it's ending, but it is to say that their management of things is ending. So they'll do some things, which means the faster you get on your credit, the faster that you're demonstrating competency while still being in the hunt for bags that are waiting on you. And we can add the utilities to our credit report. As a matter of fact, you know what? I was going to get to that. There's hundreds of reporting of informants, as they're called, but they're reporting agencies. There's credit reporting agencies that I just have listed in that pinned comment. Lay down, sweet girl. Lay down. And then you've got a bunch of informants that are talking about your rent, utilities, all sorts of things. And if you want, Robin, if you message me, I will give you a list. I've got a list of like several hundred of them. And not that they're the primary ones, but it is lucrative to inform on consumers, especially since people don't know what's going on. Let's talk about that. You guys aren't idiots. Let's just let that settle in. I could phrase it differently, but I'm making a point. You guys aren't idiots. So you didn't say, nor did you make express written consent, tangible. You didn't write it out and say, please, I give you permission to defame my character. Here, if you guys want to pursue it, and if you guys want to see what money is waiting for you, and I'm sorry that I can't necessarily help you if you're in another country, but I can give you some inroads, and I'm already starting to produce people that'll come out in that area and be able to do it. It's just I don't have the time to study about the UK and Australia, but it would be fun, and I'd be down for it. I can tell you about the equivalent of it. It's just I can't go through your case law and find out how that's structured. I just don't have that time, and I waste a lot of time as it is. So I'm down for it, but dude, you could be kicking ass if you're. I know, you've got your things to worry about. I know. Okay, so ready? When they access your credit, when anyone is looking at your credit, you didn't give them permission. Do you know that each person looking at your account owes you between $100 and $1,000? Important peeps or busy peeps, as long as they're not just churning up dust instead of like grabbing on the road and going, because I can churn up some dust, dude. I make it look like I know how to make it look good. But can I please speak to Aslan? Me? Who's Aslan? You know what? Here's something funny. So Aslan, you know what's hilarious is that joke that joke in law, there's something called the surety, right? The surety and here, I'll do it like this, and the principal. So the surety is essentially responsible for the principal. The surety has paid for the debt, right? So the surety steps forward and exchanges position with the principal, and the debt is extinguished. I can talk about this later. However, so in my car contract, I'm I'm sparring with the financier, and I was like, "You never got permission from the surety to talk with the principal, which is one of the most significant breaches of contract." And I also CC'd the attorney general and the director of the DMV. So not only did I retitle everything, I slapped them around with contract law, and then I let them know. And you guys fucked up the contract by lying, and you guys didn't even get permission. So they're going. Ready? I'll prove it. I'll just prove it when we get it. I'm excited for it. I'm gonna win. I'm gonna win. So Aslan, you write that, and it's just hilarious. And here's the thing: the surety and the principal can never be in the same room together. Of course they can't. So how about this? If you know people with child support, if you know people with child support issues, it's a surety issue. And if you engage in equitable subrogation and know how the parts play, you can clear things on the phone with surety. Because that's just it. You need to know credit, you need to know who you are in different realms, and when you know that, you attack them. Okay, so let's help attack. I was talking about credit. That's a biggie. People should start dreaming, and if they've got neighbors or friends or family members or something, and that they have dreams and everything, we can get them financed. And I'm working with people who can work some wonders between 2 and 3 months. And things might be changing and people might be stressed out. Things get better when you learn and become more aware of alternatives and resources that are out there. So we're willing to learn, but I'm also painfully aware of the pain of learning and reading. People don't have the time, and look at how the public school system again has thwarted our will to wonder and to engage in critical curiosity, right? You know, it's funny. I wrote about it in either my first or my second book, but it dawned on me that people were afraid of the skies. Like they could hear a drone coming across sands. And I was like, that bummed me out. I was like, can you imagine? And I said, just to hear death coming, and to know that that's a reality. So how about that as a conditioning process, right? And I think, and I go, well, I'm not saying that that is analogous, but there's various ways of stifling a soul, or snuffing a soul. So whether it's a drone or a slower perpetual engagement, that's not that far wrong. I don't think that's even offensive. It's just both are deliberate processes, both are cultural constructs. Anyway, so people don't want to learn, and it's painful to read. So I talk about thousands of pages and whatnot, and I sit there and I go, I've seen drones following me. You know what? I've followed people with drones. I'm a hobby drone thing until I got my last drone stolen. So yeah, I have fun with drones, but this is something else. We'll get to that. You guys want to talk about the money situation with the budget and all of that? And what's really interesting to see if people understood, the argument is the federal government or the people. That is it. And saying, hey, we can't serve you. And it's like, wait, the federal government is saying that nothing works without them. And it's like, how is this called working? The debt level, just the levels of everything. How would you, if you had to give a thumbs up or a thumbs down on their job performance, let's do a participatory endeavor. Yeah. I'm not sure we ever really die or if it's real, but I do wish we could retain memories throughout the experiences. Life flies by. Yeah. Dude, I'm going to come back to that. I'm going to pin that. Guys, you get that credit pin? If you guys want to move on this, if you guys get those instructions and give them to someone else, I would advise having them get in touch with us. I'll put up my Cash App. They could pay for a cup of coffee, and we could spend the time to go through things and identify it. And this works. It goes through at least the entire Western world, but because it's a one world government, credit all works the same. Every country is bankrupt. They're all working on the same system. It's just, again, hit me up on that topic. I don't know how to the legal equivalent in your realm if you're over the seas. I can spend some time with you on it and start teaching you some things to look at and break it down. I can even do that in an email and then say, just find the equivalent. I think you could just go to ChatGPT and say, what are the Australian rules for truth in lending? I'll send you an email and then plug that into ChatGPT and see what they say for your local stuff. But again, ChatGPT is okay, PayPal and Cash App. Word. Okay, thank you. Robin, I love you. I appreciate the help and encouragement. And all y'all, I appreciate you sharing the time. I got really encouraged today when I became aware of what else I could do, and I decided to move on it. And then when I pressed the idea to a good supporter, all of a sudden he was on board and he goes, yes. And he goes, great idea. And so we are going to be helping people with their credit, helping them get business credit and fund their endeavors. So you don't have to go to banks, just go to people that want to help you, because banks are definitely not for you. You're supposed to be a bank. We can teach you about IULs. We can teach you about the IRS. We can teach you about any number of ways that you would, if you dare to learn, you're going to be daring to earn. And it comes down to, and YouTube followers want to know. Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I wasn't trying to make you wait either. Angus 30. Wait, it's Angus. 3039 on PayPal. And for Cash App, Robin, I appreciate it. I obviously don't market myself well, but it's the process. It's not the commodity. So I'll do that, and I'll just leave that. We'll just type that in. And then if folks are interested, I've got copies of my first and second book. Saturday is the last day that I can put them to mail and at least hope for Christmas. But Conceptual Apparatus, the first book, partakes of a lot of those concepts that are in there. But it's a reference book of concepts because we're not dealing with education anymore. They're just conditioning our young, and much to our detriment. This is a continuation of concepts. I focus on truth, justice, the logos, and philosophy. I demonstrate why and how those are proverbial dirty words in our society. And then I put them up against the backdrop of COVID to demonstrate their pertinence and their application. Okay, so we were talking about credit, putting, yeah, dude, I'm driven. I got my purpose. I'm walking it. And also, I like to goof off. So I'm not wearing the safety bracelet now, but I've got a safety vest. So I hope you guys are enjoying the safety meeting for me. I got one of my favorite Christmas sweaters on. I am going to enjoy this. And whether you guys like it or not, I'm going to enjoy this. So I'm going to have some fun, and I'm going to encourage people to think differently about it, and also to not believe me. I ask them to trust me, and I'll earn your trust, and I'll demonstrate citations and say, I would welcome your take on it, but this is what we're working from, and then show my rationale and say, this is how it could work. Show my precedent and say, I'll get you some food for thought at the very least. But I intend to give you better inputs as far as thoughts, feelings, and, well, you're responsible for your feelings, but we also aim to pad your wallet. So, oh, the dog wants to be comfortable. Lay down, babe. Lay down. Here. Down. Good girl. Night-night. Okay. So we were talking about credit, and then what else were we going to talk about tonight? We're going to talk about our larger offer. So political status correction and trusts. I was talking with Mending Matters about how important those are and what comes first. Excuse me, not the political status, but you said IULs versus the trust. I think the trust sets up and fortifies everything. I think a trust, now knowing what I know. Here's another way of thinking about it. A trust is a person, right? It's a piece of paper, but it's essentially a safe. And when you're having a safe, whatever you're investing in it, I hope you have the things to put into it. And so I talk with my mentor and he goes, get people building their estate, and you do that with credit and in other ways as well. Your value in the society is based on how well you contract. Hey, Black Tree Skylines, are you in here? Are you? Can you hear me? So I want to talk to you about UCC ones. And here's some game. Okay, let's talk about credit too. Here, I'll tell everyone. So we charge $250 as an upfront fee for credit. Precious metals, I can hook you up. Here, I'm going to give you a connection right now. Go check out at costmetals.com. There you go. And then if you don't want to do that, or if you want to talk about metals, we've got guys that we work with. I can direct you with my homeboy Howard, and he could blow your mind with a perspective on that. Okay, so credit. We take an upfront fee. That's a non-refundable $250 fee. And that will go towards paperwork and doing everything right before if and when we have to attend court, at which point you're responsible for court costs. And when that gets filed is when you get a negotiation call. And then just keep in mind. So here, I'll break down how court works and how that works. Let's say you find 8 violations. And so you are, one company, one credit reporting agency. Experian owes you potentially $8,000 because there's 8 violations. And so you take them to small claims court. When you win at small claims court, I'm going to say that again. When you win in small claims court, because they only give you evidence. They're only giving you evidence. The only thing they can do is help your cause, because that's the only thing they know to do. You just got to be careful with the argument, and we know what argument to make. Several of them, but the whole point is you've caught them. You just need to hold them accountable. When you win at small claims court, the word of the day is escalate. You get to escalate, and you go to circuit court and you win at circuit court, and then you escalate and you go to district court, and then you escalate and you push it to the Supreme Court. You just got to make a good case. You got to hang your hat on something that's worthwhile. But you can get more and more money out of every level of jurisdiction because of what they're doing with negligence, identity theft, and defamation of character, among other things. So credit can be lucrative. If you didn't want to fuck around in the court system, you can sit around and address them 2 or 3 times a year and clean up your report and hold them accountable for violations, and sing it with me. Cancer's got a cance. They're just going to keep doing it. So you would just time it and go, I bet you they owe me. And then you go get your free credit report. Hey, look, it's right there. So I hope that helps. I hope that's a good start. It's pretty easy and simple. Let's move on to the next thing. If you have a mortgage or a car loan, here, let's do this. I have a document that spells out how to make use of credit to buy a car. And I'm going to sell that for $200. And that's going to include an hour or 2. I haven't decided, but probably an hour or 2 of lessons. I'll make it for $250 because that's a bunch of time. I'll make it so you understand it. And when you understand credit and trust, you would sign in a certain way, you would defend in a certain way, and you would retitle it in your trust. And then you're not going to be stuck with a car payment. You're just going to need to navigate and understand what they're saying on the public side versus what you have and what you've done. You've operated in the public by signing and giving them your social security number. And on the private, you retitle it and you are issuing later special deposit. I'll map it all out. To know that means that you're not looking at the next month for how to scramble and pay a debt with a debt instrument. And if you don't understand how that works, debt doesn't get rid of debt. Substance gets rid of debt. What they're having you do is paying with what they term money, which is legal tender, which is Federal Reserve notes or floating rate notes, that paper that's dyed in green ink in your pocket. Those are debt instruments. Those are worth nothing. They are not addressing the debt. They are only exacerbating the problem. If you want to understand this, you need to read the Trading with the Enemy Act book up on the Federal Reserve. And I'm going to blank on that. And that's called fractional reserve lending. There's some more good vocabulary words if you got kids, or if you just don't know what that means. That's a good thing to hit up with. Trading with the Enemy Act came out in 1917, and then they amended it and put it with 1933. That also goes with, I think I mentioned it earlier, or tonight's show, or the earlier show, or this, about HJR, House Joint Resolution 192. Coco Roco, good evening. So they updated with the Trading with the Enemy Act in 1933, and it's still applicable. But the Federal Reserve and fractional reserve lending, people need to understand who they are, what they do, what they've done, and what they're tied into, how that works, how money works. And that is the fractional reserve lending. On top of credit and this, that, and the other thing. That's just good. That's just good background. And every American should know that. They need to know how they're getting fucked over and what they're buying into. I saw this meme earlier this week that blew me away, and it set me right. And it said, art is protest or it's advertising for the machine. And I sat there and I was like, you know what? That means, life can be art. Not should be, but can be art. I mean, it takes a lot to be an art. And I looked and I was like, not that you have to tear down the whole thing and burn it all, right? I'm not saying that at all. But I want that meme from earlier. Oh, what? The one that I referred to? The one from Aslan? No, I can't share that. It was Aslan. It was so delightful. You know what? I looked at it and I looked around to see. And then of course I can't. Look at that. I'm even turning red. We'll touch base later. I can't. Oh my gosh, Aslan, it was great. Oof. I was coughing outside. It was something. It was something worth it. Okay, we were talking about Mariana. Well, welcome. Good evening. Okay, we were talking about loans. We're talking about getting rid of belief systems that don't serve us. And the belief systems that don't serve us, in fact, limit us. So it's a matter of getting rid of the kid games. So let's talk about loans going in line with credit. I was talking about buying a vehicle. I can spell out that entire process and teach you how to make use of credit, if not also harness trusts to sign and protect your car in equity. And that's what we've done with our spaceships. And right now we're fencing, but it's power moves. And when you understand who you are, you wait for that. They can't own up to the level of trusts. And when you do that, you're basically flicking them in the face and saying, and by the way, you owe me, because anything over, all proceeds over $1 go back to you. Here's something to look up. The majority of people saying that you owe a debt are unlicensed debt collectors. They're a bunch of pretenders. I'm not lucid enough to give you that citation, but they have no claim to the debt. Like, debt collection is one thing, but everyone except for the IRS, there's like precious few, and they'll get a contract to collect on some things, but everyone else is an unlicensed debt collector. Your water company, your electrical company, your cell phone company, and then you're sitting there going, wait a minute, they provide a service, so I owe them, and every single service is attached to your social security number. And it should have been already paid for on the public side of things. Can't I collect my debt through the Rothschild and brokerage account? You know what? You could, here, let's go there. You know what, minister? Hold on. Everything stops. Guys, get added. I can vouch for everyone in the room. And if not, we should be making friends, friend. So I'm here for you. I'm Kent. I'm not selling anything, but I'm starting some things. So I've got packages and the like. I'm sometimes uncouth, but I'm rather critical imagine that I'm rather upstanding, but I'm not selling anything. I'm the process, and you're the product. You got to invest in yourself, learn, and we're here to do something different. So through a form of debt instrument. Okay, so number one, minister, you're fucking great. Excuse me. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. You can work wonders with a brokerage account. If people get a brokerage account, you guys should be booking up and understanding what financial instruments are, very basically. Now, can't I collect my debt through the Rothschild and like I don't understand the reference, the Rothschild and brokerage account, the Rothschild and brokerage account. Collecting your debt. So through a form of debt instrument. You know what? Here's some game. Everyone go find a UCC1 form. Here, TDA account. Yeah. Ready? I hope you guys are all writing that down. Let's do some game for Friday. We're going to do a secret. Oh my God. I love you, Robin. You're fucking great. And Robin, thank you. I appreciate it. I'm sorry for cursing. So if you guys download a UCC1 form, you can find that through your Secretary of State office. It's called a Uniform Commercial Code 1 form. While you do that, also fill out or also print out, like, I'd say 2 copies, maybe 3 copies of each. How about 2 copies for each adult in the house? That's not a bad idea. Print those out. And Brazil Seed Company, there's your answer. You can work with other corporations and exchange resources there. Yeah, UCC1 form through the Secretary of State. Yes, exactly. Yes. And it's all the same form. You guys can just type it up there, but due diligence, go to your Secretary of State and get your UCC1 and then also get the UCC3. And Robin, thank you. I'll do that right now. I'll appreciate it. Well, I'll get a drink of water. You guys can throw me coffee money or throw me a pizza and throw me some pen and paper money, and I appreciate it. I do this. I'm going to share with you what I can do, and I'm excited for it. I've got one of my board members in here, and I haven't even caught her up. It's been a day and a half, but I'm advancing it, and we're going for it. And she's going to be excited too, but I'm sorry. I got all excited. So here, I got to tell you this. I'm going to be doing maybe 3 shows a day, pressing on it and just saying the faster we go, the faster we're free. And the faster you're moving on dreams. You just ordered Black's Law 3 and 4. Ooh, like leather-bound house books, or are you getting the PDFs and stuff? You'll post on YouTube. Robin, I appreciate you. Here, let's talk about status correction for veterans. You can find various citations for it, and one of those citations says that it's like a $2,400. It might even be up to $3,000 now. But there is a charge to rescind your U.S. status so you can be what's known as an American national. Oh yeah, that's the other document. I wrote a document, and I'll sell the document for $20. And it's basically a declaration of national status. So I have that available. I have the credit document that teaches you how to utilize credit to go for a big loan. Not necessarily a conveyance, but that's generally how it works. I wouldn't recommend that for a house. Different letters, A through CC through a paperback, and then a pocketbook guide for the third. A pocketbook guide. Ooh, I'd be down to look at that. Show me your books. That's rad. I have one on hand, like a tangible copy, and then I've got a 4th. Excuse me. Oh gosh. Okay, I've got a 4th edition online. On PDF that I usually resort to. I like the paperwork on it. It's just the one I have on paper. It's past the 6th edition, and if you're tuning in, do not pay it. It's interesting to see the contrast, but I would not trust anything older than a 5th or 6th edition blacks. I will want to give them. Sorry, voice testing. Got to get kids to bed. Oh, okay. Well, sleep well, little ones. I know. I had some fun today too. It's been a lively day, and I still have emails, and I'm going to be typing up a little bit, so I'm going to be up for a little bit longer. I'm going to encourage some folks, give some perspective. If it cuts out, I will come back here to close it out. I believe the live shows up until tomorrow morning. And okay, let's talk about credit and loans, whether it's the loan for the house or their vehicle loan. I'm not talking about private funding from a credit union or underneath the aegis of the NCUA, National Credit Union Association. So if you're getting a loan through a typical lender, what they're doing is accessing your account. What do you know? It's the same thing as what they're doing in the credit realm. They're accessing your own credit. They are borrowing money from it and they're not borrowing it, they're taking it, and they're having you repay your own money at interest as well. So we have a business partner. He generates some evidence. You give him a statement and a copy of the note, and he runs what's known as a forensic audit. He turns in the forensic audit, and then you get to flick your lender in the face and say, this is fraud and you owe me. And when you have a forensic audit, that's a way to bring your lender to heel and let them know that you've got the evidence to hold them accountable for your mortgage loan. That's an extended process, and it is a legal procedure. However, they make mortgages go into 30-year loans, and that's illegal. All mortgages are supposed to be done in 7 years. I'm going to say that again. All mortgages are illegal after 7 years. They turn you into a consumer or a debtor in the consumer creditor debtor relationship, and then they turn it into a mortgage, and it turns into a security, and you're just paying on it. So the same thing with your vehicle loan as well. They are accessing your credit. You give them your social security number, and you give them generally, how much does review cost? I don't understand. What do you mean for the, I got an email, Kathy. Kathy, thank you. How much does review cost? I paid for 10, mostly interest, then they took it. Hold on. Oh, and then your house, right? And then they took it. Yeah, all foreclosures are illegal. Mortgage. Yeah, I'm sorry. How much does review cost? Because they sell the loan. That's right. That's right. That's right. It's paid off immediately, and then someone else is collecting it. You need to, and really, he sets up the forensic audit and just identifies everyone who's trading on your note and everyone who is a party to it. Here, this will segue to something else, and we're going to get our returns back, but I'm investigating property taxes. So you could start with this as a citation, but 31 U.S. Code 742, which says that all domestic taxes are illegal. But about property taxes, I'll explain it like this. A tax issuing entity is a school board or a school district or a hospital district, and the Central Appraisal District is one of those tax issuing entities. I will set up my credit reports and schedule a call soon. Okay, I'm here for you. I'm here for you, and I appreciate your trust, but I will serve you and your time well. So, property taxes. The Central Appraisal District gets its marching orders from up on high, the state comptroller. So all of these boards across the tax issuing entities turn in their budgets. The comptroller, the forensic audit casts what? How does one find a forensic auditor? I'd get him to you, and then he generates the report, and our company picks the fight and goes to court for you. And then it's more than dropping the evidence, just you have to pick a fight and then make them go for it. And they don't want to know that you have the forensic audit because that proves everything. So if we can get the forensic audit before going on in there, it's served on a platter. It's all fraud across the board. And the same thing, and costs. We do that for between $2,000 and $3,000. It depends. Sometimes you'd need to get an extra audit. Sometimes the house will be moved into trust and the like. And so you need a different audit, like what's known as a tier 11 audit to get that. And when you get that, you just then get to antagonize the lender because you've been antagonized trying to pay it when it was paid for. As soon as you sign for it, everything is prepaid. If you understand how the public ledger works and how you have access to your birth certificate and social security trust. It's just they're used in a different way. And as a matter of fact, you are accessing them. You don't know how to do that responsibly. And that is what we're doing as a school, and generating means for people. And that means is better inputs. You're going to have better thoughts. We're not going to be blowing bluster at you. It just comes down to how fast you can integrate stuff. I got a house and working towards your VW. Yeah, dude, that's on. I saw that. And then I was like, dude, I get some fat tires on that thing. So the forensic audit, and then working towards so that's another thing. The forensic audit is just strong evidence. So, okay, yeah, Robin, and let me know. I'd be glad to talk with you about it. Let's go to property taxes real quick. So those districts, the school district, the hospital, whatever, turns in their budget. That goes to the state comptroller. The state comptroller identifies the shortcomings of the budget. And then they assign to the central appraisal districts to make up the shortcomings in that budget. So central appraisal districts have to follow something called, I'll do this, they have to follow three levels of jurisdiction and process. So they're not following, and then federal constitution, they're not following I probably spelled that wrong. Typo. Okay, U.S. principles, it's like U.S. Principles of appraisal process, something like that. Just look it up, U.S. PAT. They're also not adhering to state constitution, and they're not going with the federal constitution, which makes it a third-degree felony. And the people that are involved in it, would you like to see my work? Can I show you what work I'm doing on it? Like, this might sound like a lot of bluster. I've been studying this stuff for a little bit less than 15 years. And I found my mentor like 3 years ago. And I didn't start working with him until like 15 months ago. So I'm going to show you how my fifth book is taking shape, and how our syllabus for the school has taken shape. So we have all these, but I'm not going to waste your time on that. Let's look at property taxes. Bear with me. Why, can you read that? Why is property tax illegal? Okay, I could read this to you, but okay, the whole thing is no one calls them out on what they're doing. So they just run roughshod on your rights. And not for nothing, I like to read, and I like to chew through information. Hold on, everyone, please stop. If you could wash your middle fingers, if you could just offer a clean middle finger emoji to my favorite Canadian. Hey, pal. One of my favorite Canadians, okay? Hey, pal. Show off your Christmas sweater, buddy. Oh, that'll do it. I got 30 seconds left, so